Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I pick a topic and I talk about it at length on the way to work, boring the tits off everyone who listens. Anyway, so there's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about sensitive topics and I do go on tangents as well. And I do swear a lot. So if you don't want to hear me swearing, of course, turn off. I'm not going to subject you to that kind of business. Not that I really have control of the situation if you do listen, so it's up to you whether you want to hear me say the word fuck a lot. So it's up to you. I'm gonna leave it there because it's Monday and I'm hyped up on coffee, so you make that decision. I've made enough decisions this morning. The topic for today is excuses. Now, before we get started, bearing in mind if you listen to my victim mentality podcast, it's like I do have a certain viewpoint on making excuses. I'm more tolerable in this one about certain things though. There's no point being absolutely, cutthroat about excuses because it is a grey area. I will be more lenient with that one. I don't do victim mentality, but I can understand why people use excuses. There's a lot of excuses. There's a lot of things you can do. Oh, intersection. That was a big lorry. To be honest, there's not a lot of... We don't have complete control over our situation, and there are things that are external to our experiences which are going to shape the moves we can make in this chess game. So of course, you can use excuses or make excuses for certain aspects like that. But when it comes to internal motivations and things that trigger your behaviors, that's on you. It's like, if it's coming from the inside, then there's no real excuses, but if it's coming from an external influence, then you can make excuses. Does that make sense? For example, how can I give you an example? I've got a background with trauma. If you've listened to anything else I've ever talked about in my podcast, you'd know that I have a predisposition for certain behaviors and reactions, and a lot of it's a trauma response, and I'm not using that as an excuse because I still lead a healthy life because I've made a conscious decision not to act within the... What is this idiot doing? Not within the predicted behaviors associated with having a shit first one. Nearly 40 years of my life, so I'm not going to react in the most cliche predictable ways. What I'm saying is kind of like, alright, I was raised in an environment of violence and abuse and loud noises and a lot of authoritative dictatorship kind of behaviors. That does not mean that I go out and inflict that shit on my kids. I'm a teacher. I don't actually have my own kids, but I do teach. I have surrogate kids, essentially. I don't put that on them because I've been able to make that conscious effort and decision to say, this is not good for anything, so I'm not going to perpetuate this. I don't make the excuse of, but I came from a trauma background and my mum was violent and my dad was a berserker. Well, actually, both of them was berserkers. So it's okay that I carry this shit on. Like, it's not, no. There's no excuses for that. You are an autonomous doll with a conscious mind. You have a conscience. You know what is right and wrong, regardless of whether you come from a fucked up background or experience. We've been ingrained with laws and morals, whether you've chosen to recognize them or not. You know what is right and wrong, and even in some cultures the age of reason is 14 or so, is when we say, right, from here you need to act like an adult. My parents were like, you need to act like an adult from about 5, but well, my mom was. My dad didn't really have a hand in my raising, but at a certain point in your progression, your chronological aging, you will have reached a point of maturity, perceived maturity. Well, you will know that you need to take accountability for your actions. Your decisions will impact others. How you react to certain scenarios will develop a certain consequence. So you can't really make excuses for being a dickhole. You know, you can't really and expect people to just go with it, because we've all had a similar experience, not the same experience, but at some point in our life we've come to a point where we go, all right, so I was an asshole there, this is what happened, this is why I won't do it again. And that's how we develop things like common sense. You know that if you hurt someone or cheat on someone, that the resulting consequence will be pain for them, and should be shame and embarrassment for you, if you want to go that way, if you have any sense of, you know, conscience or humility or, you know, anything like that. To cheat on someone and be arrogant about it and say, I fucking won, you piece of shit, man. It's like there's no compassion or consideration for another person. That's just one instance. Another thing might be if you've decided. Now there are experiences that factor outside of your experience and control. Unemployment, for example, there might not be the availability of jobs that are set for your skill set. I remember when I first started teaching, there was not a lot of work, which is why I went into relief teaching. It gave me experience. It gave me more money than I was getting while I was a student on Centrelink. But at the same time, it wasn't the full-time position that I wanted. But it was still a job, and it was good, and I was grateful for the money. I think I was sitting on something like $500 a fortnight on Centrelink. It wasn't that great. I don't know how the fuck we were surviving on that. But we were paying rent in a share house, and it was just like living on fuck all. But we were kids. As a 40-year-old, nearly 40, I'm 39 now. I hit my birthday last Friday. I think it was last Friday, on the 3rd. I don't know. But I'm 39 now, so as a nearly 40-year-old woman now, I can't use the excuse like there's no work. It's like, I know now that if there's no work, I need to either upskill or look somewhere else or find a better way of doing things. There's no excuse, because I know that I need to survive. I have reached that level of knowing that the show must go on, that I can't sit and make excuses and say, oh, there's no jobs, yeah, I'll just give up. It's that willingness to keep progressing while using things like stoicism, which is not the denial of feelings, but the working through of feelings in the face of obstructions and challenges. You use it as fuel. You don't just say, I'm not going to feel anything and I'm going to cut off all my feelings and fuck it. Ooh, we got a sunrise. I must be early. But you make no excuse, you keep going. Now, people are going to get pissy about that because it links into the victim mentality podcast I did, and someone got upset about that. It's like, someone down-thumbed me. I'm like, I don't care. So, this is not the time to get, you know, a victim mentality about people telling the truth. But some people may sit in their misery and they may sit in their victim mentality and say that, for me, the world is against me, and they become a glutton for punishment, and they enjoy the idea of making excuses so they don't have to stretch or reach for anything or try and adapt, because it's just easier to sit in the misery. I'm going to piss someone off with that line, because they're like, it's just mean. I'm like, no, it's real. That's real. It's like, reality can be horrible sometimes. Yes, I know. You can't say that. It's not positive vibes only. I'm like, fuck off. This is reality. Shit happens, literally. It'll piss someone off, and it'll be like, I'm sitting there thinking, what world do you live in where everything goes absolutely right all the fucking time, and you don't want to hear the fact that shit could go wrong? It's denial. It's a sense of self-denial. So just, as my mum used to say, harden the fuck up, princess. You know? And that was in my mindset growing up from like 5. It's like, Mom, I'm bleeding. Harden the fuck up, princess. It's like, guess I will. Fuck, you said it now, we have to. But no, people make excuses. Having said that, I'm hypocritical because I do make excuses as well. I make excuses for menial shit that doesn't really factor into any large impacting part of my life. Like last Friday, I didn't go to the gym. Ooh. And what was the impact on my life? Fuck all. I had a rest day. You know, it's not like I'm saying I don't want to work, or I don't want to reach for my goals, or I don't want to work on my businesses, or it's not like saying I'm giving up the gym altogether because I can't be fucked. I'm going to make the excuse of I'm tired today, so I'm not going to go back. It's like, I know I'm going to go back today because it's Monday. This is my regular schedule. I go back. I don't make the excuse of I'm tired, because I know it's a fresh day, a fresh week, and I keep running. I hope I have energy by the end of the day, but I've had the weekend to, you know, recover and get on with things. But when you make the excuse of I had a horrible experience and I can't go back and I don't want to, it needs to be a horrible experience that's significant enough to disrupt your life. Not just a case of, oh, I'm tired. It's like, so what? Get up. Keep going. Come on. This is not a good enough excuse. And it sounds like invalidation, and someone's going to crack the shits about that. But at some point, it's like, how much have we got used to things that are convenient and soft? And, you know, just, it's easier if I don't. Or we've become too weak, maybe, because it's, can't be bothered. That we've started attaching it to things that we need to be doing anyway. I mean, we're meant to be staying active as we get older. I know at my age I need to be looking at things that promote bone density and muscle growth, because as I get older I'm going to lose it. I'm going to get things like osteoporosis and arthritis. I already got arthritis in my hands. But, you know, people be like, tired, and, you know, can't be bothered. No. It's crazy. I don't like people that make those kinds of menial excuses. Another example might be, which is more of an acceptable excuse, which would have a ripple effect of bad consequences, is me getting my bike license. To normal people, I say normal people, there is no normal, normative people, the average people, a cluster of people, although I don't know what the barriers are in that fucking sample, so, you know, I don't know what bin to put that in. Getting a bike license might be something that promotes nervousness, because it's a new thing, we could suggest. But at the same time, they know that by the end of it, it's going to be learning a few steps, passing a few tests, and getting on with it, and then you've got your bike license. Now, given my history in PTS, and I already have generalized anxiety, and I have panic attacks, and my panic attacks aren't just a case of I breathe heavy. My panic attacks are my tweaks kick in, and I start fucking, you know, PTS on the floor and shit. Not sexy. It also seizes up my muscles, my breathing, and everything. It's a large clusterfuck of bad behaviors which will not be conducive to trying to coordinate as fucking bike. So I was picking up on that while I was getting my license. I'm getting the going. I think I only got up to like 50 and fifth, 50k in fifth, which is fuck all. But I started having panic attacks. Sorry, my stutter's kicking in as well, so there's selective mutism. Stutter. Great. And my coordination was my next thing. Knowing my experience of what my panic attacks are, my coordination would have been the next thing to go. Now imagine if I'm sitting there doing 100 on the highway and I fucking seize up and I can't get to what I need to get to make the fucking thing stop, the bike stop, or to steer, or if I just hyperventilate and my lungs start fucking up and I can't breathe, and and whilst it sounds like I'm overthinking, I'm sitting there going, the real consequence of me getting my license doing 100 on a highway and fucking up because of a panic attack is that possibly I and other people die. So that's not really an excuse, that's just the case of, well, this is a real world consequence that could be incredibly bad. This is not a case of I'm just missing the gym because I'm tired. This is, people could die if I do this. So you need to weigh up the value of your excuses. So I make allowances for some, but it has to be a really good one. It's not just a case of I'm tired. I don't feel like it. I got kids in my classroom and I'll ask them to go and color this tiny little picture in. I don't want to. I'm tired. It's like coloring a picture, dude. It's the size of a postage stamp. I was sitting there going, get out of it. I'm not promoting this level of laziness at this age. It's like, no, it's a tiny picture. You'll be fine. And I just laugh. I don't get angry or anything. I'm sitting there going, what in the household has your parents said is okay that you can just get away with not doing this? It's like I don't feel like it. And then the more we give people options to bail from pushing themselves and challenging themselves, the more they will take up those options because it's easier and we're used to convenience. If someone can get out of doing something strenuous or boring, they fucking will. You know, that's human nature. That's, you know, even if you're looking at something like homeostasis in the biology field, the body is designed to break down challenges, to stop putting stresses on the body, to promote, you know, the system running in a better and more efficient way, which is why we got like muscle loss and things like that in particular areas. Like if you do too much cardio, you lose your muscle, because to keep the muscle there is to put stress on the organs and everything. Doing things like cardio will break down the muscle, and so you'll find that runners will be very, very lean and low fat content, so it lifts the weight. It's easier to lift the weight of their body so they can run faster. There is a sort of balance there. There is a tipping point where you become too lean and you can't run, but at the same time, it's generally the body sorts itself out. The challenge is to be a runner and to keep the muscle on, the bulk muscle. So that's the challenge. We're designed for that biologically. Psychologically, we're the same way. We're looking for the easier way, the path that's, you know, easiest, well-trodden, familiar, so we don't die in the end. You know, it's like other people have done this has been tested, this is easier, let's go with this. But it's the struggle that makes the muscle, whether it's intellectually or, you know, like physically. It's the struggle that will make the muscle, that makes you stronger and makes you go further as well, because there's no gains without struggle anymore. Everything's become too convenient. If we are leaning into the convenience of the situation and constantly trying to make things easier for ourselves, we're not really gaining, we're losing. You think about all the things they had in these sort of industrial revolution era, everything was done by hand. Now we've got machines to do everything. It was stressful on the human body at the time. The workers were dying off from premature aging and stuff like that. But at the same time, they were, for a time, physically more healthy, because whilst they didn't have all the junk food and the shit, really, because they couldn't afford it, but you know, they were also being very physically active, so their bodies would have had a higher muscle density, a lower fat content. If we look at people today that just don't go to the gym, for example, it's a very niche topic, you'll find that they might have a higher fat content, lower muscle density, and that's because they've got used to the convenience of the situation where they're not physically washing their clothes, they're sticking it in a machine. They're not physically walking anywhere, they're driving. Even if it's just down to the shops, like a 2-minute walk, and they drive anyway because it's like, it's easier, it's convenient. Like when I was a student, I used to go and do the food shopping and I'd carry it back. It would be bags, big bags, and that's how I stayed lean. Little, you know, incidental exercises like that. Accidental, where you don't see yourself as doing, you know, exercise, but at the same time it happens anyway because you know you need to get that shopping home. So I was quite lean in my early 20s. Now I know that I drive everywhere, for example, so I know I need to be active to stay mentally, first of all, and physically healthy. That's why I go to the gym. Like, the main reason I go to the gym is to deal with my fucked up brain. The offshoot, like the side perk, is that I stay relatively healthy. My weight's down. I've got some decent shape in certain areas that I quite like. My social skills have not improved. I still get pissed off with people at the gym, but I'm trying, and it's that exposure therapy to assholes, but still, you know, maintaining a sense of sanity and trying to be civil amongst people that clearly don't know what the fuck they're doing, or at least that's my perception of it. You know, it's that humbling of yourself as well. You know, like, I get pissed off at people that fuck things up, like they don't follow gym etiquette, right? Anyone who's not cleaning anything, anyone who's fucking around on their phone, stuff like that, I got pissed off, because it's not just for me here, it's for other people that need to use the equipment. And if you're sitting there on a bench or this fucking one machine and there isn't multiple ones and you're just sitting there fucking around on your phone, I get pissy, because I'm like, other people need to use this shit too, it's not just you. But, you know, it takes me because I'm not perfect at the gym. I know that. I'm not perfect. I've not been trained in it in any way. I know that when I go there, it looks fucking stupid when I do stuff like squats and stuff, because first of all, my structure isn't right. I've got broken ankles, fucked up hips, everything. Ooh, more petrol. Okay. I'm not a professional at the movements at all. I'm not trained for it. And I know I look stupid when I do it because I know I'm getting it wrong and I don't care, but I need to do the movement to make sure that it's done. It helps my OCD. I need to go through my sets. And, you know, and I know there's certain laws and etiquettes that we need to follow in the gym to ensure that everybody gets a chance to use what they want, and it's a civil place and nobody gets offended and annoyed that they can't get to where they need to get to or what they need to get to. There are rules, and that's where my autism kicks in. It's like, there are rules. You're not following the rules. And that's when the majority of my social flaws come from, where people don't follow the rules. And, you know, they act like an asshole. To me, it comes across as they're acting like an asshole. To them, it's just they're being casual. It's like, we're just casually using the gym and it's fine and we're relaxed and we're doing our weights and we're going home. And it's like, I get pissy because it's like, you left weights on the bar, you didn't clean that, you ran off with the fucking spray, no one can use it because you're an asshole. You know, it's like there's so many little things I'm going, I hate you people. And I need to humble myself in that and say, everybody's different. Not everybody's at the same level. I'm clearly not the same level, like either good or bad with some of these people. I must be pissing someone off at some point because I know I'm fucking up the lifts. I don't make excuses. Ooh, he nearly died. And say, you know, I'm better than everyone and you should follow my rules because fuck everyone else. I know that I need to be wary that everyone's different and we all operate in a different way. Suffice to say, there are some things like universal gym etiquette laws that we should be following and you should do research on just to ensure the smooth running of the gym and what the area we need to use. So I get pissy when people don't use good manners. It's a manners thing. It's like, you're not being nice, you're not being considerate, you're not being, and it comes across as selfish. But anyway, that was a tangent. The thing is not to make excuses. I could have, because I got pissy last Friday. Did I say that already? Because a guy, I was doing deadlifts in an area. I had moved out of the deadlift area because the guy was doing the thingy where it's kind of like dual punching down. See, I'm not perfect. There is a name for that, and it's very technical probably, but you know, the punchy thingy down with the strings behind you, and you're like being a Superman, but you're not. That thing, whatever that is. He had done it in front of the deadlift platform, so I'm like, okay, so I don't want to be staring at this guy. So I took my bar and I headed over to somewhere else. I was just doing deadlifts, because you can do deadlifts anywhere. Just in the area over there. But then he came and he followed me, and he sat on the machine facing me where my ass would have been, like right behind me. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're a piece of shit. Why would you wait till I load up the fucking bar to move all the way over here and then just stare at my asshole? So I'm sitting there going, okay. So instead of getting pissed off about this, and I wasn't angry, instead of getting pissed off, because that fucker follows me around the gym. He does. It's like, you did this on purpose. Instead of going full evil villain and you know, bumping him off, I said, right, I'm going to try a different gym. I'm not going to say, fuck this, I'm not going back to the gym ever again. I'm just going to try a different branch of the same, because it's a chain thing. I'm just going to try a different branch. Different people, different feeling. Maybe it'll be easier. Maybe the equipment will be more readily available. You know, I don't sit there and I make excuses and say, well, this asshole's been following me around. I'm going, fuck you, guy, and I'm never going back to the gym. That's not an excuse. I want to still go to the gym. I need to do the gym stuff because, you know, it fucks with my brain. If I don't, I know I get incredibly stressed and tense, and if I don't get some of that out in some fucking format, it's going to end up bad. So what I did was I adapted. I said, I can't do the gym here, so what will I do? I'll go somewhere else and do the gym. Now, because it's a chain, I'm lucky in that I've got fairly frequently occurring versions of this gym in different locations. Ooh, wobbles. Potholes. We're heading into my old area, by the way, so that's why there's so many potholes. My apologies for the jiggles. You don't like being jiggled? I don't think I like being jiggled either. Anyway, or do I? But, you know, you don't make excuses that way. It's such a menial shit thing. It's not like rage quitting an aspect of your life that you need to do. Personality traits get me, though. Is where someone says, I am this way because this, but it's negative traits. Now, you can say that I am this way because I've had a fucked up background. I know I've got OCD and all kinds of things going on. But it's a helpful kind of thing. It's not a case of I'm going around punching people in the face because they pissed me off kind of thing. That's not helpful. So you can't say I've got that shit background, so I'm allowed to punch people in the face. As tempting as it is. But, you know, you can't make those kinds of excuses because it's just invalid. It's destructive and it goes nowhere. You can say, I have OCD, generalized anxiety, PTS. I had depression once, but I refused to recognize that I had that. I don't know how she picked up on it. It's like, you got depression. I'm like, I don't feel depression. I don't feel it. And maybe that went away. I don't know. Does it go away? Christ, no, that was a weird discussion. She's like, no, seriously, you got depression? I'm like, what? It's like, autism. That I believe. But I don't use them as excuses to treat others badly or just not participate in shit. You know, traditionally things like autism give you learning disabilities. It's like, I guess I lucked out with that one because I didn't really recognize that I had any. In fact, I took to school like duck to water. The only thing I had trouble with was like fine motor skills, like buttons. You know, it's like, it wasn't really a case of I can't learn. It's like, I'm quite good at this. I have fun with this because it was a safe environment that was a nurturing one and no one was hitting or shouting at me. To me, the outside world in my house was worse than the school, so I did well in school. I can't understand how people have that shit environment at home and then still take it to school and say this is shit as well, because it's a completely different environment. No one's hitting you, no one's shouting at you, and it sounds like they're making excuses. But at the same time, everyone's different. Different people react to different scenarios in different ways. You could take that environment and just spread it. You could take the feeling you get from having a shit home life and just apply it to everything and assume everything's the same. You paint it with the same brush, it's going to be the same, isn't it? Because it's like self-fulfilling prophecy. It is shit, and therefore I'm going to say everything else is shit and just spread it. Or you could say that was one section of my life that was crap. This doesn't reflect it, so I'm going to change my mindset on it. It's that growth mindset as well that helps you adapt to certain situations. A lot of smoke coming out that car. Which is useful. The adaptability to change. Some people don't want to change because it's unfamiliar. So they will make excuses to say, like, if you're in a shit relationship and you know it's shit, you should probably fucking leave. But then people make excuses, and I made excuses as well, because I put people on pedestals and I keep trying to see how good they are still. I'm like, if I give them more chances, if I just pour more love into them, if I pour more affection into them, maybe they'll come right and they'll start treating me nicely. That's bullshit. It's like, no amount of sugar you pour on shit is going to make it less shit. It's still shit, and now it's got sugar on it. You don't want to eat that. You got to recognize it for what it is, man. It's not a cake. It's a cow patty. Farm references there. Ooh, chopper. Hello. But, you know, we try and see the good in things, and part of us is designed for, I think it's a cultural influence as well, to try and see the good in people. But at the same time, you got to cut your losses. At some point, you got to cut your losses, because like no amount of sugar is making this better. It's like putting more sugar in a shit coffee. It still tastes like shit. It's like, nah. I put more sugar in, it didn't work. It's horrible. Now I'm stuck with an overly sugary coffee, and it's just but we make excuses. If I just hang in longer, it might get better. It's like, no. Recognize when it's fucked. Recognize when to leave. And don't let them use their shitty childhood. If you've come from a shitty childhood as well, you're speaking from experience, don't let them use their shitty childhood as an excuse to treat you like shit. If anything, they should have recognized that shitty childhood and whose music is that? And said, I'm not going to do that in the future because it's not good. And I don't want to perpetuate that poison, and I'm not going to do it. And in fact, I might go the other way. I might make it incredibly better. And that's what I did. Although I have issues with boundaries. So I wouldn't follow that idea to a T. What is this dildo doing? Sorry, I'm getting near enough rammed by a dildo in a Hilux with a rhubarb. It's like, what do you want? Happy Tonka truck? Anyway, here he goes. Bye-bye. I'm sitting on 100. What do you want? I'm sitting on 100 in the fast lane. It's 100 road. It's like, I can't do anything legally more. He's doing 110 now. My old neighborhood's pretty shit. Anyway. But don't make excuses. There's no excuses, you know. Some excuses. There are some excuses. I'm a hypocrite, but you know. Don't make stupid excuses for menial shit is what I'm getting at. If it's a valid excuse for a big thing that could cause a lot of pain and inflict damage and be a destructive force in your life, if you do go through with it, then you can make that excuse, yes. But if it's something silly like, I don't feel like it, or I haven't got the energy for it, or I haven't, you know, that's not an excuse. Yeah. But again, that's perception based, so I can't really speak on that, I guess. Everybody's different. Yeah, excuses. I just don't like when people don't take accountability for their actions either. It's like, I didn't do this. I hate liars. I hate liars so much. And I think it's because I've got like a black and white mentality for the most part. I do have some grey areas. I've learned to have grey areas, but at the same time it's wrong and it's right. There's no if, no buts, no maybes. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It's right, it's right. And we know what the wrong and right is. We have consciences. We've been socialized from birth to know what, you know, morals are. And if you participated long enough in your society, then you know what is wrong and what is right. But the people look for grey areas, make excuses, and try to justify their actions because, oh, I came from a bad background. It's like, fuck off. No. This is wrong. This is right. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Don't fuck around. I don't like when people make excuses in that way, because if it means someone else is getting hurt or used or fleeced, you know, I'm like, you're just an asshole. You're looking for a means to fuck someone over whilst justifying your actions. Ooh, police people are facing the other way today. Why? Oh, he's got a speedo. That's why. 40 zones. Hello, police people. I was not doing 40. Hey, but you know, people are looking for excuses. I can do this. And most of the time it's just a case of, I want to do something, I want you to be okay with it, therefore I'll give excuses to justify my actions and behaviors. It's absolute bullshit. It's like, I'm not going to be okay with it. You need to stop. You and I both know now that it's wrong. But you're willing to try and convince me by saying, I've had this kind of a background, or I've got problems, to justify their actions. It's a lot of that as well. I'm sitting going, that's utter bullshit. You don't know what the fuck. Anyway, I'm gonna have to leave it there because I might move actually. What time is it? Oh no, we're early. Because actually I won't, I think, because I think I'm about to get run over. No, anyway, I'm gonna have to leave it there. I hope you guys have a fantastic Monday. It is Moon Day, so expect the unexpected. Moon card is all about illusions and secrets and things coming out of the ordinary and surprising you. Take it easy. I know it's the first day of the week and we've still got 4 to go if you work the normal week. If you don't, I'm so sorry. You've probably got another extra day or so. Take it easy, okay? We're going to get through this together. Now is not the time to be making excuses. If you want to achieve something, you're really going to have to put the work in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it sounds horrible. You're so heartless. Oh, no, but really, if you really, really want it, then why don't you just fucking go for it? If you make excuses, it's just saying, fuck it, I can't be asked. I'm hoping you have a fantastic Monday, and I hope everything goes easy for you, because I would hate it if it didn't go easy and you didn't achieve your goals, or my goals even, you know. Take it easy, and I'll hopefully, sun out of my face, and I'll hopefully chat to you tomorrow, which is Tuesday.